Welcome to today's explainer. Look, preparing for an interview, it can feel completely overwhelming, right? You've got your qualifications, you've done your late night research, but how do you actually present yourself when the spotlight is finally on you? Well, what if you had a clear playbook for that? Today, we're diving into a brilliant guide on professional presence that takes all that abstract interview advice you hear and turns it into highly actionable, concrete steps. We're going to explore exactly how to show up, how to speak, and how to completely conquer the digital divide in modern hiring.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our playbook rests on 4 core pillars: winning first impressions, communicating with confidence, mastering your body language, and acing the virtual interview.
Number 1, winning first impressions.
Here's a secret. An interviewer is actually making decisions about you before a single technical question is even asked. Seriously. Just imagine 2 candidates with the exact same qualifications. Candidate A rolls in late looking totally flustered and immediately leads with an excuse about bad traffic. But candidate B, they show up early. They greet the panel respectfully, they have physical copies of their resume right in hand, and they just look calm. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole point.
The difference between those two is literally night and day. Candidate B's approach instantly projects 3 massive things: reliability, respect, and seriousness. They've secured a huge psychological advantage right from the very moment they walked through the door. You don't need to be overly stiff or super formal, but you absolutely must appear organized and ready to go.
All right, moving on to pillar number 2, communicate with confidence.
So your resume got your foot in the door, but it's your communication that actually keeps you in the room. The absolute golden rule here: just answer the actual question they asked without giving in to the urge to ramble. Listen really carefully before you speak. And hey, if you don't quite catch something, it is perfectly fine to politely ask for clarification. Keep your language simple and direct. Ditch the slang, skip the heavy technical jargon unless the rule specifically demands it, never badmouth your former employers, and consciously tie your answers right back to the job you're applying for. To see how this actually plays out in practice, listen to the difference here. A vague candidate might say, "Oh, I'm a good leader," or "I'm good with people." Okay, but that doesn't really tell the interviewer anything real. Now, a masterful candidate, they tell a story. They'd say something like, "In school, I served as class representative where I coordinated communication for over 60 students and managed all the timetable changes." See the difference? Specific stories actually prove your skills. Empty, vague statements just kind of fall flat. Pillar number 3, mastering your body language.
Your words matter a ton, obviously, but your body language physically proves that you're engaged, and it's all in those subtle signals. We're talking sitting upright, keeping your body open rather than crossing your arms defensively, and maintaining trust-building eye contact. Throw in an occasional nod so they know you're actively tracking with them. Maybe take a few brief notes. Oh, and if you're on a screen, remember to look directly into that camera lens. It's not about acting or pretending to be someone else. It's really just about presenting the absolute best, most engaged version of yourself. And finally, pillar number 4, acing the virtual interview. Virtual interviews on platforms like Teams, Zoom, Meet, or even WhatsApp are pretty much the standard for job seekers today. So the crucial point is this: a virtual interview is still a real interview. Just because it's happening through a screen does not reduce the seriousness of the meeting by a single percent. Your preparation and the environment you set up are actively shaping the interviewer's impression of you. Because it is a real interview, you need a street-smart technical action plan, especially if your local power or Wi-Fi can get a bit unpredictable. Think of this as your 24-hour countdown prep. Step 1, fully charge your phone and your laptop, and keep a power bank right beside you. Step 2, don't gamble on Wi-Fi alone. Buy enough mobile data to act as a rock-solid backup. And step 3, test the whole shebang. Test your internet network, test that specific meeting link, test your mic. This proactive prep is exactly what stops a minor hiccup from turning into a total disaster. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it plays out in the real world. The source guide gives this fantastic hyper-local example of a graduate logging in for an interview from home in Lagos. Rather than waiting until 5 minutes before to test the link and sweating through a complete panic, they get everything ready the day before. They lock down a quiet corner, have a physical copy of their CV sitting right there, and log in early. Honestly, that level of readiness communicates intense professionalism before they've even said a single word.
And let me tell you, your physical space matters just as much as your tech setup. Find a quiet, clean, and well-lit area. You also need to explicitly warn your family or housemates that you need privacy. We definitely want to avoid any sitcom-level interruptions in the background. Dress professionally from head to waist. Putting on a proper shirt or jacket actually helps you feel the part. If you have to use a phone, lock it down on a stand so there's no shaky handheld video. Avoid noisy spots, don't eat, don't lie down, and a huge pro tip for you: always hit mute when you aren't the one speaking. But hey, what if, despite all your incredible prep, the network just completely drops? Above all else, do not panic. It happens. Just jump back into the meeting as quickly as you can and use this exact script. Apologies, I had a brief connection issue. Thank you for your patience. That's it. It's polite, it's incredibly brief, it doesn't dwell on the problem, and it lets you instantly regain your composure and move right along like a total pro.
We've covered quite a bit today, from the moment you log in to the exact phrases that signal your competence. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Your resume got you the interview, but will your presence win you the job? By managing those first impressions, communicating with real confidence, controlling your body language, and totally mastering the virtual space, you are taking complete control over how you're perceived. Now go take these tools, put them into practice, and turn your next interview into a job offer.
Welcome to the quiz section, Fastest Finger Edition.
If this message opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to MasterSense by Faraday, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs wisdom, clarity, and inspiration today. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful lesson. Remember, knowledge becomes power only when you act on it. See you in the next video.
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something that literally keeps so many talented people up at night. We're looking at some fascinating source material that maps out exactly how to master the job interview. We're going to talk about transforming all that anxiety into total confidence by navigating the common traps and, ultimately, securing those triumphs. So, let's just get right into it. Are you sabotaging your interviews without even realizing it? Ouch, right? It's a tough question to ask yourself, but honestly, it is absolutely crucial. So often, candidates walk into a room highly qualified, but they end up making these invisible, yet fatal, unforced errors during their job hunt. And the thing is, these aren't failures of skill, they're failures of strategy. But hey, the good news? Because they are unforced errors, they are entirely avoidable once you know exactly what to look for.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The unforced errors. 2. The pressure tests. 3. The salary trap. And finally, 4. The final impression. Section 1. The unforced errors. We're talking about avoiding the traps that can actually cost you the job.
The source material highlights some massive warning signs, these totally avoidable interview mistakes that you really have to watch out for. It turns out a lot of graduates completely ruin their chances, with things entirely in their control. Arriving late and blaming traffic, for instance? Instant red flag. Or showing up knowing absolutely nothing about the organization. You also have to watch out for poor communication habits. This includes speaking negatively about past lecturers, previous employers, or former supervisors. Hiring managers hate that. Furthermore, if you exaggerate your skills on your CV, well, you're going to seriously struggle when the interviewer asks you a practical question to actually back it up.
Building on that, we really need to completely reframe how we view our qualifications. Look, a certificate or a degree is fantastic. It gets your foot in the door. But relying solely on that piece of paper, that's a trap. What actually secures the opportunity is your communication, your attitude, your ability to provide real examples, and having a strong problem-solving mindset. That is what actually wins the room.
So, the crucial point is how you actually present that mindset. There is a stark difference between an amateur approach and a winning one. The amateur trap is falling back on generic, cliché answers, saying things like, I am hardworking, or I can work under pressure, or I'm a team player, without offering a single shred of proof. I mean, anyone can just say those words. The triumph here is in the winning answers, providing concrete, real-world examples of your skills in action and clearly demonstrating that problem-solving mindset we just talked about.
But let's be real. What happens if you just get nervous? You're in the middle of a story, you catch yourself rambling while trying to give an example. We've all been there. Well, here is a brilliant triumph tactic directly from our source. Just pause, take a breath, and use this exact script. To summarize, the main result was, this is so powerful. It doesn't make you look weak. Actually, scratch that. It proves incredible maturity, self-awareness, and control over your own communication.
Section 2. The pressure tests. Handling difficult questions with maturity. All right, let's look at everyone's favorite dreaded pressure test, the weakness question. We all tense up when we hear it, right? But I'm going to slow down here for a quick script drop because this is absolute gold. Instead of some predictable cliché, you choose a real but manageable area and prove that you're improving. You could say something like, I used to struggle with delegating because I wanted to ensure everything was done perfectly. I have improved by setting clearer expectations, agreeing deadlines, and checking progress without micromanaging. You see what happened there? You triumphed by being completely honest, but you immediately showed actionable growth.
Another major pressure test is being asked about a past failure. Whatever you do, please do not play the blame game. Instead, the source outlines a really mature 3-step formula to handle this flawlessly. Step 1. Explain what happened factually. Step 2. Take responsibility for your part. Employers literally highly respect this. And Step 3. Focus on what you learned. Doing this shows that you're a candidate who can reflect, grow, and improve.
Let's actually look at a real-life example of that formula in action from the text. A candidate explains a failure like this. In my first project presentation, I focused too much on technical details and did not explain the business impact clearly. Then, they show the learning. The feedback helped me realize that communication is not just about information, it is about relevance. Since then, I prepare presentations by asking, what does the audience need to understand and decide? And finally, the result. My later presentations became clearer and more effective. Boom. That is exactly how you turn a failure into a massive interview win. Section 3. The salary trap. Navigating expectations without desperation. Now, this is a highly delicate topic, particularly for fresh graduates. The biggest warning here is to be very, very careful about raising salary or benefits too early in the conversation unless the interviewer brings it up first. But when they do ask about your salary expectations, you need to be ready. You want to avoid sounding desperate, but obviously you can't be entirely unrealistic either. The source provides this beautifully balanced script for a fresh graduate to use. You say, I am open to a fair entry-level offer that reflects the role, the organization structure, and opportunities for growth. I am also interested in learning more about the responsibilities and expectations. It's professional, it's grounded, and it perfectly navigates the trap.
Section 4. The final impression. Asking the right questions.
At the end of an interview, never treat "do you have any questions for us" as just a mere formality. Seriously, the questions you ask here prove your interest, your maturity, and your level of preparation. It's also how you figure out if this company is actually the right fit for you. Here's our rapid-fire list of high-value questions you can bring with you. You could ask, what would success look like in this role after 6 months? Or, what are the biggest priorities for this position? You can also ask about team culture or how they measure performance. Just remember the golden rule here. Avoid asking absolutely anything that is easily found on the company's website. Bringing it all together for interview day, the source material summarizes the absolute essentials for leaving a flawless impression. Notice the emphasis on the basics here: punctuality, neat dressing, clear communication, and confident body language. Whether you're doing this in person or managing a virtual setup over Zoom, these foundational elements, combined with asking intelligent questions and staying calm under pressure, well, that's what secures your entire strategy. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Will you let an unforced trap define your interview, or are you ready for your triumph? You now have the roadmap, you have the exact scripts, and you have the mindset shifts required to walk into that room with absolute clarity. So memorize these actionable tactics, avoid those invisible errors, and confidently step into your next interview totally ready to win the room. Thank you so much for learning with me today.
Welcome to the quiz section, Fastest Finger Edition.
If this message opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to MasterSense by Faraday, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs wisdom, clarity, and inspiration today. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful lesson. Remember, knowledge becomes power only when you act on it. See you in the next video.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something super crucial: the unseen game, the follow-up and final interview checklist. Look, if you're a Nigerian graduate stepping into what we all know is a brutally competitive job market right now, you need an edge. We're going to break down exactly how you can prepare like a pro, stand out from the massive crowd, and absolutely lock in that job offer. Let's get right into it.
So, let me ask you something that might actually surprise you. When does a job interview actually end, right? Most people think it's the exact second you walk out that office door, or, the moment you hit leave meeting on your Zoom call. But I'm here to completely shatter that misconception. The interview absolutely does not end there. In fact, what you do in those moments immediately after, that can literally change the entire outcome of your application. You see, the job hunt is this continuous, dynamic journey. It flows from learning to researching to preparing to performing, and then, crucially, to following up. That follow-up phase, that is your absolute secret weapon. Imagine a stack of resumes from equally qualified candidates. The one applicant who executes a crisp, professional follow-up is the one who proves their dedication and cements themselves right at the top of the hiring manager's mind. Okay, let's look at a real-life example of how this is actually done right. Take a look at this targeted follow-up email from a candidate who is going for a project assistant role. Notice what they did here. They didn't just say, "Hey, thanks for the interview." No way. They specifically highlighted that the discussion strengthened their interest in the team's focus on timely reporting and stakeholder coordination. They literally mapped the conversation they just had directly back to their own skills. It's totally brilliant, and honestly, it works like a charm. So how do you actually construct a message like this? Well, here is your ultimate 3-step formula. Step 1, simply thank the interviewer for their time. Step 2, mention one very specific point from your conversation. This proves you were actually actively listening. And step 3, restate your interest in the role. Oh, and the golden rule for all this, you absolutely must send this message within 24 hours of the interview. You gotta strike while the iron is hot and the memory of your awesome conversation is still fresh. The biggest takeaway for your follow-up is super simple. Keep it short, specific, and professional. You definitely do not need to write a massive, sprawling essay recounting your whole life story, and please don't beg for the job. A concise, highly targeted message reinforces your professionalism. It basically says, "Hey, I respect your time, but I am super eager and ready to add value to your team." The Master Success Checklist. Now, to even earn the right to send that amazing follow-up email, you've got to nail the interview first, right? So let's rewind it. This right here is your non-negotiable pre-interview blueprint. Okay, looking at the sheer breadth of the official MasterSense interview success checklist right here might feel a little bit overwhelming at first glance, right? But don't sweat it. We are going to break this whole thing down into highly actionable, dynamic chunks so you can tackle them one by one without stressing out. First up, we have the fundamentals. Look, you absolutely must research the organization and the industry. That's a given. Next, match the job description directly to your NYSC, your internship, or your volunteer experience. And I really want to emphasize this point.
Your NYSC and volunteer work are highly, highly valid experiences. Please don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You also need to prepare a really sharp answer for, tell me about yourself. Remember, they want your professional highlights here, not your entire life history from kindergarten onward. And finally, clearly articulate exactly why you, as a fresh graduate, are the absolute best fit for this specific role. Next on the checklist, the star stories. Guys, you cannot walk into an interview just hoping to invent good examples on the spot. It's a total recipe for disaster. You need the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Have concrete, structured stories totally prepared for times you showed leadership, teamwork, problem solving, how you handled conflict and pressure, and yes, even how you navigated a major failure. Having these tucked away in your back pocket ensures you are literally never caught off guard by one of those tricky behavioral questions. Now, take a look at the flow of this whole ecosystem. Researching the company logically flows right into mapping out the job description, which then defines your personal value proposition. And then that value proposition feeds directly into your interview story bank using that STAR method we just talked about. It's a complete, continuous loop of preparation. When you build your stories based on what the company actually needs, you become an undeniable candidate. It's like a giant puzzle coming together perfectly. All right, let's shift gears for a second and talk physical logistics. Do you know the exact interview time, the specific location, and the actual names of your interviewers? Have you planned out your transport and laid out your outfit the night before? Do you have crisp, clean copies of your CV and certificates printed out? Honestly, even just keeping a pen and a glass of water nearby is crucial. Having these physical materials ready eliminates so much unnecessary anxiety. You definitely don't want to let a missing pen or a random traffic jam derail months of hard work. Now, what if your interview is virtual? Well, the logistics change, but they are just as vital. You've got to test your device, the meeting link, your data connection, your lighting, and your sound. And crucially, especially when we consider the everyday infrastructural realities that so many applicants face, you need to secure backup power wherever possible. Pick a quiet location, explicitly tell the people around you not to interrupt, and make sure your background is clean. A dropped connection or a super noisy background basically screams unprepared, even if you have the best answers in the world. So on the actual interview day itself, it all comes down to punctuality, dressing neatly, having confident body language, and clear communication. Whether you're sitting right across a mahogany desk or staring directly into a webcam, your nonverbal cues are speaking absolute volumes before you even open your mouth to say hello. Sit up straight, maintain that eye contact, and really try to project the quiet, calm confidence of someone who has absolutely done their homework. Let's slow down for just a second here because we really need a climactic mindset shift. Present your real experience with confidence. Listen to me on this. Being successful as a fresh Nigerian graduate is not about pretending you have 10 years of hardcore corporate experience when you realistically only have one. It is about total honesty, unwavering confidence, and providing solid evidence for what you have actually done. The absolute crucial point here is understanding what employers actually want from a fresh graduate. They aren't looking for a seasoned, 20-year industry veteran. They want proof of potential. They want to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can learn quickly, communicate effectively, solve problems on the fly, take real responsibility for your actions, and grow within their organization. Your stellar attitude and your meticulous preparation are often far, far more valuable to them than a long, totally fabricated work history. Let's clearly contrast these two approaches. On the one side, we have pretending to have 10 years of experience. That is a massive, anxiety-inducing mistake that is going to inevitably backfire the second you get tested on it. But on the other side, that's packaging your NYC, your internships, your school projects, and your personal volunteer work professionally. That right there is an empowering reality. You should proudly showcase those early career experiences because they perfectly demonstrate all those core essential skills we literally just talked about. And this brings our entire explainer totally full circle. Just look at this flow. Continuous learning fuels your research, which then powers your preparation, leading to a confident performance and ending with that crucial professional follow-up. It's an incredible success loop. Every single step relies heavily on the one right before it, and mastering this exact cycle is exactly how you consistently land those offers. To keep that success loop running smoothly, you absolutely must commit to continuous learning.
You need to constantly be strengthening your workplace readiness and your industry awareness. The materials we're breaking down today highlight some really excellent resources for this, specifically encouraging you to utilize highly practical platforms like MasterSense by Faraday and exploring targeted programs like the Industrial Skills Masterclass. You've got to keep building those skills so your competitive advantage never, ever fades.
So that brings us to our final, and honestly, our most important question for you today. Are you entering that interview room just hoping for luck? Or are you entering with undeniable proof? In a job market this competitive, your preparation is your ultimate advantage. It's time to stop relying on chance. Start using its checklist, craft your star stories, and walk into that room completely ready to prove your value. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.
Welcome to the quiz section, Fastest Finger Edition.
If this message opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to MasterSense by Faraday, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs wisdom, clarity, and inspiration today. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful lesson. Remember, knowledge becomes power only when you act on it. See you in the next video.